Okay, this is a bit of a different type of video than usual, but I just found that ChatGPT was really powerful for language learning, so I wanted to make this video. Remember that a limitation is that it may occasionally generate incorrect information, so you do have to be a bit careful with it, but I'll get to that in a bit. So I'll just be listing out what questions I usually ask and how I try to determine if the sentence is natural or not. The first one is simply, how do you say X in Chinese? Our example will be, how do you say, I don't have to go to school tomorrow in Chinese? And it outputs, 明天我不必去上学. Remember to be a bit careful with its answer. Instead of accepting its translation as truth, I would ask it more questions to get a better sense of how accurate it is. And here's where I think it's very powerful. Usually we would have to get answers to any follow-up questions by searching on Google or trying to ask a native speaker. It may be hard to find all your answers on Google, and you may also not want to annoy a native speaker with all your questions. But now with ChatGPT, we can ask as many questions as we want and instantly have the answer written down in front of us. Some follow-up questions I'd like to ask are, is there any other way to say that? What's the difference between the first and the second translation? Which one is more common in spoken Chinese? Is X more formal? Since there's many ways to say the same thing, we want to generate many ways of saying it and categorize them. You'll probably want to be clear on these two things, whether the word is used more in spoken Chinese versus written Chinese, and whether the word is casual or formal. You'll probably hear a Chinese person say that this word is 比较口语, which means that it's more used in the spoken language, in spoken Chinese. Or that word is 比较书面, which means that it's more used in the written language. And you want to know if a word is casual versus formal. So that'd be 随便 versus 正式. Once these two things are clear, then it'll be pretty clear what word to use in which situation. Next, we'll ask it, is there any other way to say that? So it gives 3 answers, and normally you'd want to explore each one, but we're just going to look at the first one. Notice that the difference between the two sentences is that one uses 不必 and the other uses 不用. We really just want to know the difference between these two, so our next question will be, what's the difference between 不必 and 不用? And remember that we're looking for spoken Chinese versus written Chinese, and casual versus formal. So it says that 不必 is used to indicate that something is not necessary or not required. And at the end, it says it is often used in formal or serious contexts. So this word is leaning more towards written Chinese and formal. And if we look at 不用, it is more commonly used in daily conversation and also means something is not needed or required. More commonly used in daily conversation means that it'll be more used in spoken Chinese. So we'll want to use this word 不用 to say our sentence. So our sentence will be 明天我不用去上学 to mean I don't have to go to school tomorrow. Now, to be absolutely confident that this sentence is good, the last thing to do would be to check with a native speaker. For this sentence, I think the only thing a native speaker might change would be to remove the 去, since 上学 already means to go to school or to attend school. So if we did that, we'd end up with a shorter sentence, but I don't think it matters too much. Choosing to use 不用 was a much more important decision. So overall, I think ChatGPT is a really powerful tool for language learning. You do have to be careful to make sure the sentence is good, but I feel like it's usually pretty accurate, especially if you know what follow-up questions to ask. I feel like it's easier to understand a language than it is to come up with the words yourself. So ChatGPT seems like a good tool to generate those words that you might know but can't think of when you're trying to figure out how to say something. And then you'll be more familiar with those words and will be more likely to think of them in a conversation. Alright, so that's it for the video, and thank you for watching.